What's going on, guys? Brian here, and today I want to talk to you guys about something a little bit serious as it relates to MMORPGs, namely because I continue to see this narrative online from content creators and commenters alike. And it's something that really just doesn't seem to make sense based off of all the information that I've been able to see, but I feel like it's ended up being rooted in a Death of a Game New World. Now, I love Justin's content, I love his series, but I think A Death of a Game New World is kind of a pivotal moment where some of the information that's presented ends up being taken as the cold hard truth about the matter, and when you actually look into it, it doesn't seem to actually be true in some degree. And so you're welcome to agree or disagree. These are discussion-based videos, so feel free to weigh in on the comments on anything that I share in this video. I always love reading through them, especially if they disagree. I like to have that back and forth in that discussion, either here in the comments or obviously in other videos itself. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Brian. If you're new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you beautiful, beautiful, sexy beast, you. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of these videos. Today, I want to talk about kind of what I see as the lie that is shaping the narrative around New World, and also about Amazon's next big MMORPG, which they are building in Unreal Engine 5, and the impact that it might have on New World or on AGS together. Like, I think this is something that is very closely related, but it's also shaping a narrative in which that I end up talking a lot about New World. I really enjoy the game. I even have a dedicated New World channel focusing on guides, news, and so much more. In fact, today I just released the player population report for July. If you guys are interested, I'll try to include a link in it for you. But let's talk about these two aspects. What is this lie that I continue to see permeated? And it really is rooted in two things: that AGS didn't have MMO designers on their staff, which actually isn't true. They actually had a lot of World of Warcraft people, a lot of other just devs that have generalized experience. Now, I would say the leadership did not, like, they hadn't built an MMORPG before. But the other side of it is I continue to hear that AGS doesn't have passionate gamers and they don't have passionate developers, and that doesn't even make any sense to me. Now, obviously my bias here is that I love New World. I think you should absolutely play it. It's easily worth the $40 entry fee, and occasionally they have it on sale for 25 bucks. And so at its core, like, it is a great value in my mind for the hundreds and hundreds of hours that I've put in and will continue to put into this MMO. But I don't think you get what New World is if you don't have passion, and the devs and their communication continue to bleed that level of passion. Sure, gamers will be frustrated, but overall, like, from A Death of a Game New World, I continue to see that brought up. Oh, if only New World devs were passionate about their game. And having actually gotten to go 3v3 in the PvP arena with the devs, being able to talk to them one-on-one, like, they are some of the most passionate devs. I don't think you go into gaming if you're not passionate. And this is something very true. And this is something I see even labeled against other games, especially MMOs. MMOs as a quote-unquote community in and of itself is an oxymoronic word. We're not really a community. We're almost more antithetical, more tribal than anything else. And even within your own specific MMO, like, it's always interesting to see how the genre has developed into that tribal nature, because it is a fight for survival, because MMOs do require more of your time than any other genre out there. Their persistence and their life and their longevity ends up meaning, like, people are really looking for one MMO to invest their time in. However, when you actually look at really kind of the numbers and how the genre has morphed and evolved, it's really gone into a seasonal model where gamers end up playing a handful of these MMOs and they just jump around from season to season, or from year to year. It really kind of depends on your MMO specifically, but I don't want to, like, digress down that rabbit hole for too long here. So when it comes down to it, being that AGS has actually had, like, a strong development team, and I think that they have the passion, that's something that I'd love to see kind of shift within the narrative itself. You can critique the game all you want. You and I can sit down. We can talk about how New World can get better. I've made those videos. I'm actually going to continue to make those videos. There's a lot of really good stuff here. In fact, I would say New World has a mountain of potential, and that's perhaps maybe the big hook when it comes to me and MMOs. That was the same concept with Final Fantasy 14 1.0. Looked at the game and go, there's a mountain of potential here. I'm really excited to see how it evolves and how it grows. And obviously that one worked out for me. Here we are again. When I look at New World, I see just a mountain of potential. And the question is that will it be refined so that it gets that polish, that level, and that delivery that people are wanting it to be? And only time will tell in that case. But that's where I get frustrated when I start hearing even content creators reiterate, oh, if only the devs were passionate. Oh, if only the devs had MMORPG experience. Like, on the MMORPG experience side of it, that is no guarantee for success. We've even seen MMOs built off of teams that have that experience come and get completely obliterated, right? Because so clearly experience is not going to be the factor here. And I think one of the things that really is the issue within New World, when you look at design and development, and this is something I talk a lot about when you start to see 5 and 10 year projects within game dev, that's a bad sign. That's a sign of a lot of HR, human resource retention issues, changing of directions. And that's actually really the thing. I think what's the truth here isn't that the team didn't have the experience necessary or the passion necessary. They actually didn't start out trying to create an MMO. And I think that's actually the reality. And they stated this multiple times. The game ended up being devved and iterated on. And I think they ended up landing on something incredibly magical and having so much potential, right? It's that key word here is potential. But you don't end up releasing what they released without that passion. Nobody goes into game development to make less money and just for making the sake of games. In fact, I personally have hired people out of Gearbox because they really needed to find a better way of supporting themselves. And passion is great. They loved working on, Borderlands, but that's the story of it. That's the way it ends up working out for them. And so I think overall they did discover fun and they did discover an MMO, but clearly MMOs, in my opinion, from my history with MMORPGs and the number ones that I've played, is that usually within the 2 to 3 years, that's a maturing period within the game itself. And so that's why I take umbrage with the people saying that they don't have passion and they don't have the talent to do so. Because if that's the case, then I think they've hit a lottery in terms of what they ended up releasing, because that just doesn't happen. I honestly, to this day, still think video games are like a miraculous thing of our time, because the amount of people, the amount of time, the amount of money that it takes, it just doesn't seem fathomable that they actually exist. Because everything that goes into it is a lot of work, and there's a numerous amount of things that can fail and go wrong and really prevent that from happening in the first place. Now, I believe I've covered that, at least the thoughts that I had on those two things I can see popping up here and there. And now I want to kind of talk about Amazon's next MMO, which, if you might not have heard, Amazon's all in on gaming. Like, they are insanely all in on gaming, and I'll talk more about that if you guys want in other videos. But overall, like, the fact that they're making another MMORPG is a good call, in my opinion. And it's weird. I think what we know about it so far, it seems to be something set in the sci-fi. They are building it on Unreal Engine 5. And this is where can you operate 2 MMORPGs as a company? I think Amazon can. In fact, when it comes down to it, having another completely different thematic MMO and an MMO from the start, it probably will launch much, much stronger than what New World has, even though I'm just going to say that they're probably still years away. But being that it's built on Unreal Engine 5, I think is a real powerful indicator of where they want to go within the company itself. Not that they're going to abandon New World or the Lumberyard engine, or as they call it, the Azoth engine for New World, but more so that they're able, as a part of their recruiting method, being able to learn Unreal Engine 5, be able to bring on talent that understands Unreal Engine 5, and continue to support that. And who knows ultimately what that game is going to look like, but I think essentially that actually gives me some really good signs that they're learning. But this is also the other side of it. If they decide to stop supporting New World, their next MMORPG, like, that's going to be really suspect when it comes down to their promises. They've committed to a 10-year plan for New World, and we're going to obviously, the only way to know if they're serious is by letting that plan play out. And if that plan plays out, that actually makes their next MMO a much stronger case, because then all of a sudden everybody can now point to like historical facts. Hey, AGS, they launched New World. It was really successful, struggled out of the gate with a lot of bugs. They got a lot of data, a lot of telemetry, a lot of understanding about running a live service game. And now, boom, they're still supporting that game. And now they also have this other game. And then when it comes down to the fact that you don't have a subscription, I do wonder if they would actually keep with that same business model for the next one. But I think this ultimately is going to help them with their hiring practices. I think this is actually also communicates to me that they're really excited about how New World is performing, because that just continues to say, like, what they're doing here is continuing to lay the foundation of trust. And as a New World player, that makes me excited. As whatever they build next, if they continue to support New World and release content, make the game even better, well, that has me even more excited to see what they make next. Because when it comes down to it, when it comes down just to their level of investment and their interest, the fact that they're making MMORPGs when historically MMOs really struggle for the first couple years, even with Lost Ark being one of the number one MMOs, even when you factor out the bots, still being one of the largest MMOs being played worldwide right now. Well, clearly, like, they have some excitement being pulled up around that. And I think essentially it will be interesting to see if that has any influence on their business model going forward. Ultimately, we don't know. I'll be sure to give you guys my opinion, my feedback, and more, whether it's here on Ginger Prime or over on Ginger World Gaming. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to know your thoughts about it. If you guys have any of those, feel free to weigh in the comments below. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you in my next one. But until then, take care.
Yeah. It's time to chill out on the couch and read some comments. That's right. You know me when it comes to Destiny. I'm off with a clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh yeah.